Hello everyone, my name is Ed, and welcome to episode 1 of EMPP, Ed Madison Podcast Project. In this first episode, I'll be interviewing Mike Behrensmeyer. He's from the greater Quad City area, and he's a photographer, an artist, and a musician. Mike was also kind enough to help me set up in preparation for this first recording, so an extra thank you to him for that, all of his help. And I want to thank Andy Harris as well for letting me use his original music in the intro for the podcast, and I will be including his song Loud Thunder at the end of the episode. So make sure to listen for that. I'll also include links for anything we talk about in the podcast, as well as links for Andy Harris, his music, and Mike Behrensmeyer for his social links, including for photography. So make sure and check those out. I'm really excited about doing this. I plan on doing one a month for every month in 2018. And if you have any questions or you want to reach out, don't be afraid to, especially if you'd like to be on the podcast or know somebody that would be good for me to interview. I'll see you on the next one. And we're live. Hey everyone, how's it going? My name's Ed, and this is the Ed Madison Podcast Project. And with me today, I've got Mike Behrensmeyer.
Yes.
And this gentleman who's with me today has been so gracious to help me get this whole thing going and set up. So I really appreciate you doing this for me today.
Not a problem, man.
This is the first one. And we've got today, not to keep going, but we have some scotch too.
Yep. Scotch is good. Scotch and podcast. That's how we're going to roll tonight.
I think you called it the serum juice or serum. What was it called?
It's truth serum.
Truth serum.
So this is where all the questions are going to come out.
Yeah.
Well, truthful answers.
Well, hopefully they're truthful anyway. And the thing is, of course, I don't expect my guests, like I said earlier, to drink. But if they want to, it's definitely welcome here. There's no problem with that. Or
yes, it is.
If anybody wants to be on here and have a coffee or an espresso, we've got a Behrensmeyer out there. And have you had one of those yet?
Yes, I have. As soon as you said that, I was remembering. I was like, yeah, I like that Americano that you had me for that. Well, the last time we were here it was cigars and coffee.
Yeah.
Well, not the last time, but very first time that I came over.
One of those times.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, the Behrensmeyer has been a really handy addition too. Not to talk about coffee a lot right away, but living in Muscatine before we moved out to Durant, if I didn't tell you this, I mean, we could stop at Starbucks, and I turned into that guy, right? Where I've got to have that Americano to get me going in the morning.
Right,
Some kind of a caffeine, right? And when we moved out here, basically, there's not one nearby, and they make
you got Casey's down the road. You can get a quick pot of coffee.
We could. And not that Casey's coffee is bad necessarily. Can you think of, let me ask you this right away. Can you think of a coffee that you've had that you didn't make or you didn't get at your favorite place? If it isn't Starbucks or even like Dunkin' Donuts, is there a gas station that had a really good coffee that you really enjoyed?
Yes. Pilot out in Walcott at the truck stop.
Oh, the Pilot does.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It was called Bold Intense. It was like 2 times the caffeine. But instead of it being like an energy drink, it was coffee all jacked up on caffeine.
Gotcha.
But it was really good. It had a nice robust flavor to it. Nice full.
Nice robust flavor.
Yep.
That's a good buzzword, robust, right?
Robust, yes.
Robust, yes. So I'm going to try to guess really quick. Are you a black coffee guy, or do you got to have a cream and sugar? I'm going to guess black, but it's a guess. Am I close?
You're pretty close. I'm not picky on how I take my coffee. I'll drink black coffee with a little bit of sugar, or I'll throw some cream in there. It just depends on how I feel for the day. So, but I do like to taste my coffee and not the products that I put in it.
Well, that's good. So, but for the Pilot one, let's say, can you think about the last time you had a Pilot coffee?
I drenched that bitch in sugar.
Make that thing taste better. Mm-hmm.
It had to be sweet. Yep.
It had to be sweet.
Yep.
And for those that probably maybe don't catch or know what Pilot is, they're like a major chain of gas stations for like pickup, or not pickups, but semi trucks. Right?
Yes. Yeah. They're a big fuel gas station chain. They're pretty popular throughout the North America, I would say.
I think the furthest one I've ever seen away, when I was traveling for work a few years back, when I was coming back from Ohio, there was actually one in like Indiana, I think I passed that I stopped at. But other than that, I can't think of too many that I've seen.
No, because usually once you start spreading out, it's more like Exxon Mobil and stuff like that, or BP.
That's
Shell. Shell's another big one too, but I think Love's is probably the biggest.
Yeah, that sounds familiar too. I remember seeing like the logo, especially when I'm traveling for work, seeing that Love's sign elsewhere too.
Yeah, there's a lot of Loves around.
A lot of Loves. There's a lot of love always around, and
right
in here too, right? A little bit more of the Scotch. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now the show isn't about drinking, whether it's coffee or if it's about Scotch, because basically, when I set up doing this, obviously there's a lot of influences, whether it's from other podcasters or talking to friends that I find interesting, such as yourself, because you got a lot going on in your life.
That I do.
Just really wanted to have something to sit down and kind of chat and capture those moments. And sometimes, I mean, I got a bad memory, so it's good to record them.
Yeah, it is. It is good to record it, and it's good just to talk and tell your story. You know. We all have a different story in life.
Yeah. So what's been going on with you lately?
Lately with me, I just started a job, so got that going on. But I don't know. Kind of had a weird moment the other day where I decided to take a break from social media, and I am putting a hold on photography.
Okay.
So I'm basically on a shutdown right now. And in the process of making a transformation in what I'm doing. So I've decided this year that I'm doing like a no buy. So I'm not spending any money but what's on necessity, what I need. So other than that, no more haircuts. I'm just gonna try it. No money, you know. I don't need any fun thing. I got all the toys that I need, so
I respect that.
I'm gonna use what I got, but just kind of take a break. I'm trying to figure out the direction where I'm going. I do got a couple projects lined up that I'm working on that are mainly my main focus right now. One's doing the cover band thing that we had talked about, and then me and another guy just decided we're going to start running a short film. So that's going to probably eat up a lot of my time this year. I don't know if we're going to get rolling on that this year, but writing, we have just started planning it in the beginning right now. So we're kind of got our premise going, but now it's to write the actual story. So it may take us a year to get it figured out or planned out, but I'm going in that kind of direction into the motion picture and taking a break from photography as far as it being more publicized. I'm just going to take that little break from social media, just to kind of recharge myself and take a step back and just focus on other priorities at the point.
Yeah, and so just be clear then, it's, if I'm hearing you correctly, so it's the whole gamut, everything. Social media for not just you personally was how I took it initially, but everything then.
Everything, yep. I need to step back and just really not worry about what else is out there, or, you know, everybody's ideas or things that you would normally see, like influences or that kind of thing. Like, I'm trying to dig into my own creativity and just stay where I need to. And then, like I said, my two projects that I'm going to focus on is where my main focus is going to be right now. So a lot of writing and a lot of music playing.
I think that's healthy too. So, and recently I've told you before, and a lot of people that are close to me have known, I didn't completely stop Facebook. I basically got rid of everybody on my personal Facebook page, not because I didn't like them anymore, because I didn't want to be friends with them, but I got tired of seeing everything in between, especially around politics when that was going on with the election. And,
right.
You know, it seems like nobody was happy. It seemed like there was always something somebody wanted to vent out. And I really didn't want any of that. I didn't want to look at that negativity every day is really what it turned out. I reached a point where I'm like, I just don't want to see this shit anymore is what it turned out to be.
No, and I kind of got to that point where I'm seeing other people's work and then still trying to work on mine, but I'm not in competition with nobody. You know, it's all on me. And basically I get into my head and then I see things where it's just like negative, or I don't know, for some weird reason I got bad vibes, and I was just like, I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break from it.
I think it's healthy, like I said, especially.
It's a healthy break. I mean, it has nothing to do with anything. I did do a shoot last Thursday, shot with 2 different models, and kind of my heart wasn't in it, you know, and to me, that's not really fair to myself, and it's not fair to them because they didn't do anything wrong. It's just I looked at my pictures and I didn't see what I wanted to see, how I envisioned it. It didn't work out, which doesn't mean that they were bad in any means. My heart's not in it. So
yeah,
my heart's not in it. I can't really do it. I still love it. You know, I'm going to do it at some point in time, but I'm just taking a step back and trying to figure out what I want to shoot when I do shoot photography. You know, like we had discussed a little bit earlier about doing landscapes and all that type of stuff. You know, that's where I started at, but then I got away from it because I decided, oh, well, I want to take photography towards a career, but really I don't. I just want to take pictures and get paid for it.
Sure, yeah.
You know, but I don't want to have to deal with all the other stuff that comes with it.
I think you should get paid for it too. I think anybody that performs any kind of service, especially personal artistic, that's, you know, a value to somebody else, I feel like you should be fairly compensated, you know.
In a way. I mean, it doesn't have to be crazy. Sure. You know, there's that concept, you get what you pay for, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to pay somebody $100 to get you a picture and they only give you a $50, you know, it goes hand in hand, and that's just what I don't want to give to people if I do it. You know, I want to be able to give them their value of everything, and just to me, my heart's not in it, so I can't really give it the 100% value that I would to somebody. But it's not that I'm stopping from taking pictures. I'm just not gonna do it I'm doing it for myself if I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody else, you know, like I have creative projects that I've tried working on, and, you know, this last one that I did, the idea was cool. It just didn't come to envision. I had a lot of problems. I got frustrated while I was trying to shoot it. And then to see my images afterwards, I was not happy with them.
Right.
And it took me probably like 6 days before I could even come down to being like, okay, I like these 5 out of this set, and I like these 5s out of the other one, and they're happy with them, which that makes me happy. But other than that, I wasn't happy with my work. So it was more of a personal thing. And then, yeah, yesterday I just decided I'm done with the social media for now. I got too much shit going on in my head that
sure
I need to focus other places, take a break for a little bit, and regain my composure, and just go on to the next projects that I got going on. So
that's good. So now you've got the you've got the video thing that you're working on, and which we've kind of talked a little bit about, but basically what you're doing is working with somebody else that's local then, right?
Yep. They're out of the Quad Cities. Actually, he's another fellow photographer. We're all in the same group together, and probably a lot of the people that I'm going to be asking, you know, having come out and act or any of that type of thing is going to be in this group that I got hooked up with, which they're all a great bunch of people. I mean, and I just met them last year and joined a photography community and met some really cool people throughout it, and been working with them here and there. And now I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing so I can continue to be creative and put out work that I'm happy with. And
sure, yeah.
I don't know if it's what, you know, it's what I want to do, but how I want to do it and how I want to go about it, is where I'm trying to figure out where I'm at with it.
Do you find that you find that when you're working with somebody else instead of when it's just you, like before when you're taking pictures, and even though you're working with a client or somebody that is wanting you to take picture, what's it like in that aspect on video? Do you find that is it rewarding working with somebody? And of course, they probably have to be like-minded, just like if you're a musician and that we're used to dealing with other musicians and
right. It's the same principle. Photography and video works a little bit different because everybody has their own style. Same with music. Everybody plays their own style regardless of what, everybody has their influences of, what they bring to the table, what influences them. And working with somebody, it's great to be able to bounce ideas off of, because for one, if you can bounce an idea off of somebody, they might not only be able to bounce that idea back, but be able to build so that you can collaborate on an idea. Like right now, we're in the premise of working on the story for this movie. And last night, he gave me a reference to kind of look at as far as a movie. He wanted to know my thoughts, what I thought of it. And it was a rated B movie. It was good to a point, but there's things that I would have did differently. And within going and analyzing that movie, I started coming up with the idea of where I wanted to go. Well, so I shot that to him through the Google Doc app. He read it. I let him think about it through the day. He sent me something back this morning, and we're on the same lines. But now where my idea stopped, his idea picks up, and now we've kind of shifted the point of where our story is actually going to start, what kind of a connection people will be able to have to it. Because that's the biggest thing when you're making a movie or any of that type of thing is most people, they'll say they can relate to the protagonist of the movie. Well, no, but you can relate to the situation that protagonist is. And that's kind of what we're trying to build right now. So me and him are in the photography thing. Our main idea is basically to either take somebody that's doing a blog or a vlog or some type of thing. There's a love occurrence, but then it don't quite work out very well. And then somebody ends up getting stalked over it. And then, just kind of like it's going to be a thriller action, but I don't know. Still in the beginning though.
That's cool. In the infancy, right?
Right, the infancy. Yep.
Is this all being recorded up in your neck of the woods or in the Quad Cities in general?
I think it's going to be in the Quad Cities in general. So it probably will. Some of it will take out this way. I mean, it's just all really going to depend on what scenes that we're adding in, the kind of feel of it. There is stuff that I would like to do out here. I would like to actually do a slasher movie out in the boonies. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of gravel roads, so
there's a few.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole premise on one of my horror movies that I've been thinking about, and it's about being on the back roads and the gravel roads, and there's some crazy hillbilly.
Right.
Because we live in Iowa.
Well, I'm glad we're talking about a movie that you're working on instead of some country songs. It sounds like a terrible country song.
It would.
You knew it was.
I don't think you'd be able to play it backwards either, because you ain't getting anything back. Not that you didn't want.
Sure. Yeah. When we talked before, you were mentioning that you were, and I don't want to give anything away, hopefully, but you talked about recreating scenes from movies too.
Yeah.
Is this part of that, or is that something completely different?
That's something completely different. I think I was just spitballing random ideas to throw out there, but okay. I still think it would be cool to go recreate iconic scenes from movies, just short, whatever, however long the scene is. Like the one that I want to do the most and start, and since it's nice, I probably should be doing it right now, but I want to do the walk away from Breakfast Club, where he's coming out, walking across the stadium, holding the fist up. Forget about me.
Sure.
Comes on. Yeah, I think that, just little things like that. They're iconic scenes. Nothing, more than a couple minutes or whatever. But
is this something like when you're doing a one video that has multiple scenes, or is this like little little, I know you're not on social media really a lot right now, but is this like a minute long Instagram story kind of thing? Or is this like a YouTube collab or multiple scenes in one video?
The recent project that I'm going to be doing.
If you were going to recreate the scenes we were talking about.
The recreating the scenes, yeah, it would definitely be like YouTube. And then I would try to figure out if anything to advertise it on Instagram if I had to take a clip. But it would basically just be pushing to whatever YouTube or Twitch, whatever I decide to use.
Yeah, I feel like Instagram's only a minute long, right? So I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah,
that's like the most you can put on there.
I really believe so. That you can only put.
Which could be maybe perfect for a situation like that, right?
And it could. I've actually. There's one photographer that I was just looking at, and I'll have to look at it and try to get back to it. But anyways, what he was doing is he was making little short stories on the story thing, like actually using what he felt that Instagram was for instead of how everybody has been using it, which it was pretty cool, like how he advertised it. But I really wish I could explain it more than I can right now. But just the way he went about it is actually how he feels, and I can actually understand how Instagram is supposed to be used with the 1 minute videos. As far as your pictures, like, I don't know if you follow certain people, but me, when I do my Instagram, I'm pretty random throughout my whole entire life. Like, I don't stick to one certain type of, like, I put my photography on there, or I put what I'm doing, or my music, or
it's a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Where he is more just he shoots landscapes, so
that's what he posts on there.
Nothing but landscapes. You know, he's a very solid Instagrammer, I would say.
Sure.
That you could go and know that you're going to get quality work out of him if you hire him as a photographer. That's how he promotes himself, as that, or
sells
videos.
Himself,
yeah, he sells himself through that.
Sure.
Where I use mine for my random shit throughout my life, where I'm at, which that there is more of a personal for the friends, and then I do have my strictly photography, Behrensmeyer photography Instagram account, same with on the Facebook and stuff.
So even though you're dropped out of the social media, I want to share with everybody those links. But
you can
like the photo one, right? You were talking about.
You can do the photography one. I mean, even my personal one. If people want to get a hold of me, they can either DM me or private message me, or like I'm taking a break from posting stuff right now. And same with the photography. I'm on a pause with that, but I can't say that I won't get on there, but necessarily I'm just not going to be attached to the hip to it like everybody else.
No, that's good.
There's a lot of things where I don't find influence in looking at everybody else's. Like, I kind of feel like I come up with an idea, and then the next thing I know, I get ready to go do this idea, and then somebody else is doing it. Like, it's really weird, Like, I've talked about the whole Google thing where you could be thinking something, and then the next thing you know, like, oh my God, my battery just died in my vehicle. Well, look on Facebook. Here, oh, well, they got batteries.
Yeah.
They'll advertise it to you. But that's kind of how I feel, like, even like human instinct. And I know everybody thinks and has their own creativities and stuff, but for me, just seeing it, and then it kind of discouraged me, because then it's like, oh, well, then I compare myself or this and that, and then you get into that mental game.
Yeah.
Which really sucks.
It does. It can suck.
Because I'm a creative, but I'm also a perfectionist.
Sure.
And being a perfectionist sucks the most, because you're always I'm in battle with myself. I'm not in battle with anybody else. I love looking at people's work. I love being openly creative or criticizing, but constructively criticizing people, not beating them down or anything like that. But I just feel like yeah, it comes to me, and then some weird reason my mind wants to compare when I know that I don't have anything to do. But it's generally, I've been this kind of way my whole teenage to adult life, where I've always had to feel that I set things up for myself only to knock them down for myself. You know,
No, it's okay.
I don't know how to explain that feeling for. I'm sure somebody out there's probably had that type of a feeling where there's like some type of weird expectation, but no expectation of you at all, type thing.
No, I understand. I feel like anything in life, if you're that way, which there's parts of me that are very much like that OCD or hard on myself more than anything, especially when it comes to my music, you know, when I'm trying to either perform or learning. And, you know, it's like I have this poster that's out in my hallway. It's at the end of the hallway, and we'll have to look at when we're done. But it's actually a scene from The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, where he battles himself. He battles Shadow Link.
Shadow
right?
Link,
yeah, the Shadow Link part, and which was always one of the most memorable parts in my video gaming history, right?
Right.
And the line underneath on that poster was like something like the hardest fight is the one within, or something like that. And that's always something I walk by that, and you know, I realize that's something we all have to deal with. But for me especially, you know, I got to battle myself every day as well.
Right. And that's the biggest thing, though. I mean, most people everybody's battling with themselves one way or another.
Some more than others, from what I've seen.
Well, yeah.
Maybe they just showed it in a different way.
A lot of that probably is. Some people are a little bit more dramatic than others, or, you know, but I will say everybody's got their own story. Everybody's got their own past. Everybody's got their own flaws. Whatever you want to look at, everybody's got their own thing. Most people can't come, you know, you get into a relationship, whatever, you got to come together, you know, those things come with that person, that, you know, it's about accepting that person, you know, honestly. I don't know why people say they fall in love, because all I know, when shit falls, it breaks. You know, I'd much rather walk into love with somebody and choose to love them, instead of waiting and hoping that maybe we might fall in love, or that type of thing. You know, that's the way that I base love on. I don't look at it as, you know, magically. No, if you choose to be with a person and they can put up with you and you can put up with them, and it be, you know, you're always going to have your ups and downs. You know, those are the things that are supposed to tear you apart. And those are the things that tear most people apart, that they can't work through things.
Or make you stronger too in the end.
Well, and they're supposed to. I mean, that's how life works. You know, everybody's always looking for that meaning of life. You know what the meaning of life is? It's to be alive. It's to enjoy anything that you can.
Can I tell you this? I don't want to fucking know what the meaning of life is at this point. Because
No.
really, you know why? Because I just feel like sometimes better off not knowing things. Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
And I feel like that's one of those things that a lot of people, if we didn't know what the meaning of life was, I don't know if we'd be able to accept it.
No.
I don't know if you'd be able to understand to the point and accept that and live that, knowing that. You know what I'm saying? Live knowing that's what it is. I feel like it would tear a lot of people apart. You know, it could cause people to drink more scotch.
It could.
Good
it could.
for, you know.
But looking at that, though, you know, I mean, shit. We all work, pay bills, and we're all eventually going to die one way or another.
Some sooner than later.
That's true, too.
And you just don't know.
No, you don't. But hopefully when that day comes, you can be happy on that bed.
Exactly.
Because that's really what's going to matter. Don't live your life with regrets, basically. Where I come from on that. Shit, breaking my neck 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Going through all that shit. I mean, I shouldn't be here today, but I still am, and I'm glad that I am.
And not to cut you off, so if we're going to get into that, has it been 2 years?
It'll be 2 years, June 3rd.
I would say, if you were swimming in the fucking middle of, pardon my language, in the middle of freaking January, that wouldn't be good.
Dude, I'd have hypothermia.
You'd be in trouble for more ways than one.
Right? Yeah, I would be. And if it was 52 degrees like was today, damn.
That'd be, warmer than it's been lately, though.
Mm.
So if you don't mind sharing, then, since we're going there, I'm taking us there. So 2 years ago in June, you, just to explain, so that way if you were caring to share.
All right. So 2 years ago, I went out on a float trip with my buddies. Well, a couple of my buddies, and ended up being out with a whole bunch of people that I didn't know. I was out of my comfort zone. We were all drinking, partying, floating down the river, looking for the sandbars to go party on, just hang out for the day and float down the river. And we decided to stop at the first one. We all got out. We were taking shots. We were drinking. We were running around being drunk idiots. And we all decided to start jumping out, everybody from different directions. And lo and behold, we're on a big giant sandbar. Well, where I was at and decided to jump from waist-high water, I dove down and I hit the other side of the ridge of the sandbar and ended up shattering the C6 in my neck, and basically was an eighth of an inch from being completely severed on my left side, which that would have paralyzed me. And after I had my impact, I tried to get up, couldn't feel my arms or anything. I really, at that point, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I knew there was something wrong, but I didn't realize that I had broke my neck. Well, after a couple attempts to try to get up, some people realized that I was struggling, came out to my rescue, got me back up to closer into shore, which I was not in that very high of water. I was, like I said, I jumped out
Knee high or something, right?
waist high water.
Waist high.
And I don't know, from where I dived, I didn't go down very much further than waist high water, probably like shoulder. So, only a couple feet did I go down after I had dove. They get me into land. They're trying to kind of figure out what's going on with me. They're like pinched nerve, which I could see that because I was having, that was the pain. And it was probably a half hour later when we got down to the second sandbar. And by this point, I couldn't even row myself. They had to take me down to the next sandbar by basically somebody towing me behind my own kayak. And we get down to the next one. I'm not feeling well. I'm very nauseous, very sick. And by this time, I'm kind of starting to hit that shock period where, there's something seriously wrong with me and I need somebody to call. 911. Well, call. We can't get no ping, no nothing. They can't get out to me. So the next closest place to where they could come get me at was Sherman Park, which still was probably another 4-hour float downriver. Well, everybody was like, no, let's go through the woods. I said, no, it's probably not a good idea to go through the woods, just for the fact that not at this time that I'd know it, but if I would have fallen at any point in time and like hit my head, like
Sure, yeah.
I could have been paralyzed.
That you were walking at this point, right?
I was upright and walking. Like I hit the bottom of the river basically, and I could still move my legs, but my upper body was
Just not responding.
Well, my left side wasn't responding. My right side came back after a little bit. But yeah, my left side, I would try to lift my arm up and it just smacked me in the head. Like I could get it up this high. And even when I, eventually did get back into land, and down to the safety, I mean, I couldn't even lift my hand over my head, which was pretty bad. But anyways, back to the story. We get to that second sandbar. They call for help. They decide that, yeah, we can get you here at this point. Go ahead and get to us. Well, my next thing is how are we going to get down river, because we're not going to go through the woods. So they hooked me up to the back of a kayak. I'm in an inner tube. A guy's rowing me down river. We float 2.5 hours down river to get out to the next spot. And we came up to a person's house, which they were right on the river. So they had a boat dock. I got out there and I walked up, and by the time I got to the front door, the man's wife had came out and said that they were looking for me. And at this point, no one but yeah, they had been driving up and down the gravel roads, trying to find where I was at, knowing that I'd be coming down to that other point. And yeah, for 2.5 hours, they looked for me. And then I finally got out. The guy gave me a ride down to Sherman Park where they were going to be picking me up. I walked out of the car, handed off my ID and all that stuff. There's state troopers down there. There's ambulance. And the next thing I know, they want to put me on a stretcher. And I refused a neck brace, and they took off and got down probably onto the gravel, and I had to have them stop on the side of the road.
It was that bad. Yeah.
It was that bad.
Just being in that vehicle and feeling the sensations.
The vibration and all that stuff, and that's when they basically were like, yeah, you probably broke your neck.
So just to be clear, the C6, and for those that don't know, like me, I don't know what a C6 is, offhand, but I'd like to look that up really quick if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just type in C6.
C6 vertebrae. And so where that C6 is at, you got your C6 and your C7, and that's where your nerves start to branch out. So where I had broke, and actually what it was, that position that you see that head in, that's how my neck broke. It tried to eject that C6 out the back of my neck, and it had shattered off at a 45 degree. So where you see that little tip at there.
And just to be clear too, for those that are just listening instead of watching on YouTube or Facebook, we're basically checking out a Google image results of a cross section basically. So if you want to jump on YouTube or Facebook and check this out, you can, or Google search it on your own time, whatever.
Yep, you can do that.
Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, so where that C6 is at, where that tip's at, that's completely shattered. So this portion here, that shredded off my C6, through that way, and through that into my spine. And so this portion here is what was sitting on my spine for 2 days while I was in ICU, while they're trying to get their team assembled. So this happened on a Saturday. I sat through, let's see, it would have probably been like maybe 12:30 when this happened.
Okay.
So we weren't on the river very long. This is about a half hour being on the river. And by 12:30, I was floating downriver, getting ready to get into an ambulance and get shipped off to a hospital, where I sat for quite a few hours while they were figuring out what they were going to do with me. And my only option was to be airlifted to Iowa City.
From there, which hospital were you at again?
I was in DeWitt. So I was
in DeWitt.
Yep. So I was out in DeWitt in the Genesis. I'm not sure what their hospital name is, but it was affiliated with Genesis. And yeah, I didn't have a choice where to go. I wanted to go to Davenport, but they're like, yeah, no one's going to take you. So they airlifted me from DeWitt to Iowa City, which was a very expensive ride.
Yeah.
That was like that helicopter ride was 1 year's worth of my pay.
Oh.
So like $58,000.
I know it's not cheap, and the only reason I know that, not to cut in front of your story, is because
no.
my youngest, actually, he had to be airlifted from Muscatine to Iowa City shortly after he was born, for a respiratory thing, something that obviously wasn't crazy life-threatening.
I got some other crazy ass stories about having to go from the hospital to Iowa City.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the neck thing. So that severed off and laid on my spine for 2 days while they assembled their team.
Oh,
I had to be strapped up in a halo. Basically, I was like in a medieval contraption. I had weights hanging off the back. I could not move. Like, the only thing I wanted to do was just to sit up, and I had to lay completely flat for 2 days. And the miraculous thing is that they were able to get it off with minimal damage, because basically what they were worried about is if they're going to take that off, it was going to do any more damage. Like, they didn't know if I'd be able to walk again, or use my arm or any of that type of thing, because it was such a severe thing.
Yeah.
And The surgery was successful. They had to go in through the front, which is a less invasive type of thing, but they ended up replacing my bone with a cadaver bone. It's shaved off about 1/8 of an inch, so it'll never touch my spinal cord again there. And got a steel plate in my neck. And then from that, I sustained nerve damage on my left side. So on my left hand, I got 2 fingers that are partially paralyzed because the nerve got crushed. Basically, the outside of my nerve is completely damaged on this side. And I spent a year in physical therapy trying to get myself back to where I'm at today. I do struggle in things as far as like there's certain weights that I can't pull down. I am on a weight lift restriction, which really does not affect me to a point, but like as far as like trying to go to the gym, you're not going to see me lifting 100 pounds, being a Hulk or a bulk or anything, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I can do the bare minimum and still like, I can gain a little bit back, but I don't gain very much of anything. And that was even going through physical therapy. We started trying to work with my hand first and then realized that it's, all up in this area, and then they work with this area. And I extended it out even further. I started going to the gym myself and doing exercises, and then I was coming into problems where my shoulder was bothering me because I had to compensate for the weight that I was trying to, there'd be a certain way that I could not pick and lift something up, but then I'd find a way that I could still do it, but it was damaging my shoulder. So I took a little break from doing the gym thing on the weight portion, and here lately I just haven't been doing. I just been maintaining at home, doing push-ups here and there, trying to maintain more than trying to like really exercise or build my body or anything like up, because it's not going to build up on this side. I'm going to bulk up on one side and not the other side, and I'm going to look all lopsided, and I'm not going to have that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to have that.
Yeah,
but no, it was pretty life-threatening and scary.
Yeah.
And what it really made me realize that I need to quit doing stupid shit. Like I'm looking at the stuff now and like,
over here.
Yeah.
Again, the Google image results. By the way, I clicked away from that one picture because did you see what it said at the bottom of the screen? It said, these images are copyrighted. It literally says on here that $150,000 penalty for unauthorized use. So I don't know if this is authorized or not, but we gave credit to a Google search.
Yeah, well, that's Google's fault.
Yeah, way to go, Google.
I have those same images, so.
Do you?
Yeah, so if we ever need to bring them out, I got them. I can show you my little plate that I got in there that took forever me to get used to swallowing food.
Oh, God, I can only imagine. Can you at least swallow that scotch okay right now?
Yeah, I can.
I'm not going to lie, that's all I care about in this moment, selfishly, so you can enjoy that, okay?
No, I shouldn't be here, like I said, but for some weird miraculous reason, I'm here. I'm able to continue life, and I got a little bit of damage, but out of everything, it could have been a lot worse than it was.
Well, it really sounds like it, and it's good that you're here because you're pretty talented individual with all the, even though you're not doing like the photography really full time right now and everything.
Yeah,
this guy, man, he paints, photography. Now, like videos and movie clips or whatever it is you're gonna be working on, and hopefully you can keep doing that stuff.
Yeah, I'm putting my priorities where I need to at the moment. Like I said, I just started up a job doing some paint, and so that's kind of my focus right now, getting that wrapped up for the customers. And then, probably going to be on to the next paint type project, which we had discussed a little bit earlier, but we're not going to go onto the podcast about that.
Sure.
But it's just basically kind of getting myself back. Like, now I've had everything happen. Now I'm here today, and I know the direction where I'm going. and I'm going to pull the stops out on some things and put some stops on other things and just kind of fill it out for a little bit.
I think that's good.
I'm sure it'll change. It'll change in a matter of months. But
yeah, change is good. You control everything as long as you're happy with it, man. That's all that matters,
exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's all we can do is keep living our lives the best we can.
That it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty crazy story, though. I can't believe it's been that long now because
I know it. Well, it really don't feel like it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, technically it has not been 2 years yet, but
it's getting close.
It's coming up on it, and which is even weird, you know, like I don't necessarily look at the date of my injury. I look at the date that I walked out of the hospital.
That wasn't in June then. When would that have been?
Oh no, that was still in June.
Oh, that was still in June? Okay.
June 9th, I was walking out of the hospital. I walked out of the hospital in 6 days.
Gotcha.
On my own.
Well, that's pretty damn good.
I didn't want to stay in that damn hospital no more.
It's okay laying down for 2 days straight.
Well, I was laying down for 2 days straight, and then I was still stuck in ICU for 6 days. So like 4 of the days I was stuck in ICU, and then they were going to move me to the maternity ward because that's the only other place they had open. And
maternity ward, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to the maternity ward. No.
I've got my pride, man. I'm walking out here.
Right. No, but I think by the second day, they were coming in and having me get up and walk with the nurse and just trying to see how far I can go. Like I said, the surgery was successful, so they didn't really, you know, it was in my arm and that didn't even get really figured out until, I want to say February of last year is when I found out that I was going to have permanent nerve damage in my arm, which nowadays what they got going on with the whole stem cell
Yeah, no, I got you.
research, they're going to actually, I think Florida's going to start, but they're going to start doing spinal injury people. And I may look into seeing if there's any benefit of it.
I think that's great.
I mean, it's a positive thing from what I've seen so far. I'm not up to date, or I'm not, you know, hip, so I can't really explain what it is, but it's pretty interesting stuff on what they're finding with the stem cells. You know, yeah, a lot of the stuff we have around here is banned. You know, they don't do it, or they don't do a certain type or that type of thing. But there's some research back behind it that is actually really interesting as far as like how cells reproduce. Like a new cell can reproduce 1 billion, you know, stem cells for you to be able to use. Well, if they took your stem cells, for the age that you are, you'd have probably like 1/3 of what a new cell would have. Same with me, you know, and the older you get, the more it degrades down. So that's why they use these young cells, and they're not, I don't know what everybody heard or what everybody's gone by based on. There's the amniotic stem cells. Now they're using the umbilical cord stem cells, and not every umbilical cord or not every specimen produces the same amount, this type of thing. You know, I think there was something about the aborted fetuses, you know, not to get on that topic or anything. There was a lot of controversy behind it, and there still is a lot of controversy behind it. Because it's something that, you know, not saying that it is a cure, but it could be a cure for everything. You don't know, you know, but they're trying to take the research and find out when, you know, you got people saying, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, you know, putting the rules and regulations on it like they always do. There's some pretty interesting stuff behind it. And I think if I could ever, you know, like right now, it's probably going to be a trial based type of thing. I might try to get on a trial and see, you know, if it does something and wakes up my hand, you know, it can't hurt.
No, it can't hurt. No. And if there's some promise shown in research and them using it in the past, I know a lot of it probably has to do with not just the questionable usage of where they're coming from, but I know it's to some degree, and not to take it this way,
Well,
but religious too. Don't the religious
yeah,
folks seem to think
yeah,
that
there's controversy behind that with the religious stuff too. But I mean, that's the same with contraceptives.
yeah, that's true.
They have issues with that, but it's if it has some benefit to it, then go for it.
Yeah,
I mean that's the way I feel about it. Like, I know through my whole thing, my option to have it was going to be aesthetically pleasing, but it was, or not aesthetically, cosmetically pleasing to me, but it was not going to be functional to me. So I opted out from having the tendon transplant for the fact that the nerve that they're going to have to branch off of is a nerve that is a downward. So it's downward motion. Well, I'd have to retrain that nerve to move up. So the likelihood of it being functionable for me, it could have messed me up more than what it was. And it was a 50-50 option, and I opted not to do the surgery. I opted to take what I had instead of losing more than, what I had at that point. And as you saw, I was playing bass today.
Yeah, doing
you
all
see
right,
me playing
man.
music.
I thought you were doing good.
I'm still trying. There's things that I'm not going to be able to do, which, no problem. I'll work around it. I've started trying to play different chords on the guitar. I've started, playing different basses that are more comfortable for me to play. I found that slimmer necks and shorter scale basses is kind of the way that I got to go now, so I can have the comfortability of playing and not overwork myself. Like I said, my neck on my bass is like the size of your 5-string over there, and that's a stretch. And I got to do that with these 2 fingers, where I used to be able to do it with a full hand, which problem. Then now it's more of a struggle for me, and if I overexert it, it's not like even any of the music that I play. I'm not going basically on what everybody else has written. I'm going to stay to keep the music flowing so that my bandmates can keep going,
Right. Yeah.
And that's just where I'm at. There's things that I'm going to be limited to doing, but I'm not going to not play music,
I don't blame you. I'm not going to stop either, no matter how.
I mean, I watched a YouTube video one day of a guy playing with his toes because he has no arms, and he's playing chords.
Right.
And it's like, man,
no excuses at this point,
no
right?
excuses, no excuses.
No.
So
yeah, I can't stop either. It's almost like I don't want to say an addiction, but it's definitely a lot of fun. I find myself always trying to find these other avenues to explore and try something new, like you are recently doing something you're not used to.
Yeah, I step out of my comfort zone every once in a while. I mean, usually it's me kicking myself in the butt to get somewhere differently.
Sure.
But it's just something I go through in life. I've always done this. It's not anything that's out of the normal for me.
Sure.
I think here in the last couple of years, it's been pretty drastic though. Like, I will pick something up or I'll drop something real quick that, I might have been doing for years, or, get into it and then just find out, oh, it ain't something that I want to do. I love learning. I love the experiences, all that type of thing. And then I just sometimes get overwhelmed and bogged out. And then I just have kind of like a self epiphany. Like, I'm either going to stress myself out way too much and it ain't going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like I just did for 6 days to get these pictures out, and it's like I don't know why.
Yeah.
But for me, and I even talked to the models and all that stuff, and explained, and they still thought the pictures were great. And it's just, if I'm second guessing myself, like I really need to step back and analyze that portion of what I got going on, while, like I said, I got too much stuff going on, but not too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I got too many things taking my focus instead of where I need to be focusing at. And, there's definitely, like I said, this year, it was going to be more on the video type stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
So taking that step back, like, I'm still going to be shooting photography, but I'm not going to be doing like all the model shoots that I was originally doing, which kind of filtered out, but there was a lot of 2017 was the greatest year. You know, a lot of it, even I was still dealing with trying to get myself back. And then, you know, with my mom's situation, her passing, I had a really rough time. So 2017 was not a very positive, good year. And it finally came up and just kind of bit me in the butt. And I want to take 2018 to another level. And I was already starting to get into a bad point where we'll just say I was in a depressive state. I still am in a depressive state, but I'm not, you know, I got too much stuff going on. I'm trying to minimize what I got going on.
Sure.
And focus more on myself than worry about everything else out there. Like what I was doing, you know, basically going out, doing all the photo shoots, doing this, doing that, you know, still dealing with my mom's situation and her passing, and that, you know, that was so sudden and so recent, you know, it's going to be, you know, a year before any of that type of thing. And probably even not then, you know, who knows how long that shit takes to heal. But
take as much time as you need, man.
Well, no, and that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm just trying to more focus on myself. I know what things that I want to work on, and I know where I'm kind of figuring out where I want to be, and you know where my priorities are at in life at this point. Which
I'll tell you this: it's good to be selfish sometimes, and it's not in a bad way, but you have to be sometimes to be good to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I'm a big proprietor of being selfish of yourself and your time, because a lot of people get into it. Like I'm an introvert as a person, so I like to sit back. I like my me time.
Yeah.
Not saying that I don't like going out and hanging out with people and stuff, but
sure.
People drain me in a way that, and a lot of people can understand. You know, there's people that are draining that, you know, not necessarily, but they take a lot out of you. You know, you might be, one of my good friends is a drainer of me, you know, and we go through spurts where we won't hang out for, you know, quite a few months, and then we'll pick up like nothing ever happened.
Sure.
You know, but he's an extrovert. I'm an introvert. Two different people as far as personality. He likes to be out and be around people, where me, I'm content, you know, just hanging out, chilling, not really caring. And it, you know, we go through that spurts where I just can't hang out with him for a little bit. I need to recharge that battery.
No, I understand completely. I feel like that can go with all different types of relationships too, not just for friends.
Well,
but,
no, yeah. I mean,
you know, people. I feel like sometimes it's good to have that opposite. Sometimes that attract, in my opinion.
Well,
in my opinion, sometimes that works well too. And I know there's different variables that are involved that may affect that, but
there are, but yeah, opposites do attract, but yet similars and everything. It's crazy how people work out. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes you just find it and it works, or sometimes it doesn't. It takes you a while to find it, and some people never find it.
Sure.
You know, some people look for their damn soulmate, and you know what they say about your soulmate is usually the one that you can't stand being with, that ends up being your soulmate, but you guys are never together because you can't be together.
Yeah.
You know, like I used to look for people that were more like me, and I look for people that are different than me, and it's like I don't know, you know, I know what I want in a person, but I don't know if I want them to be like me or be completely different or be, you know, like I'm a person that loves to learn, loves experiences, loves to go out and do, you know, anything. You know, I'm adventurous wise. I don't want to be stuck in a crowd of people, but you know, I can go out and be around people or that type of thing, but I got my limitations of how much I can actually accept. But you know, I just try to find somebody that I can mesh with, you know, learn something from, somebody that's going to engage me, that type of thing. Or, you know, what they say, kind of keep you on the toes. And yeah, so I mean, that's kind of how I feel on that portion of that.
Sure.
But
that could be like a whole nother conversation. It really could. Or not that we have to have that conversation either.
Well, I'm sure we could probably have it another one.
Well, regardless, it's been a lot of fun just sitting here chatting with you and kind of catching up, but not just on something new, but also something that's happened to in the past, like with hearing that the C6, and learning about that. And I'm going to be paying $150,000 soon. It looks like if I publish this, but that's good to know. And and the fact that you're here still is pretty impressive as well. Made it through all that, man.
No, it is. It's impressive to me too. Like I'm baffled to why I like. Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you got guardian angels and all that," and it's not that I don't believe in any of that type, but like the situation, like I'd have to say, I would be more afraid of drowning to death. Like, what could have possibly happened? Because that would have been such a struggle. But, just that there was probably my worst wake-up call to realize what the hell am I doing with myself? I mean, I was pretty bad, drinking pretty heavily, like,
sure.
Disregard, like I was binge drinking though. I wasn't drinking every day of the week. I was drinking on the weekends and getting belligerently drunk for no reason.
Sure.
And it took that to get me out of that concept. Now I don't drink to get drunk or anything. Like, yeah, every once in a while it happens, but
sure,
it's not a forte in my life, nor, yes, I'm adventurous, but I'm not a crazy extremist, and I don't try to go skydiving or any of that type of thing. I don't go rock climbing or
hell with that, because I feel like I'd end up like, slipping and falling off the rocks.
Oh, man, I don't even like swimming. My ass jumped from waist high water into a freaking river.
Yeah.
And it was because I was out of my comfort zone, and at that point in time, I will say before that, I was kind of like on a spurt of where I was talking a whole bunch of shit about how I don't ever want to work again. And I honestly have to come down to it and say, fucking karma bit me in the ass, dude. For all the stupid shit that I did that should have happened. Because I got other crazy ass stories about where I should probably be losing arms, an eye. And somehow I've been lucky. And this is coming from the dude that will be like, yeah, I live by Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Sure.
And I ain't got good luck. I got bad luck.
Yeah.
Which, you know what, is better than no luck at all.
That's true.
But fuck, man. I'm a testament.
Hey, man, you know what? I'm glad you're here today with us. You can have some scotch and we can talk and hang out, man. And I'm out of drink, but
yeah. Hey,
Mike Behrensmeyer hanging out with me today and chatting a little bit. And just to be clear too, we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. If I didn't say it earlier, this guy's helped me set up a lot of this too and get prepped and do some test runs. So I really do appreciate your time and what you put into this to help me get going. And then you are always more than welcome to come back anytime you want. I'm going to do this once a month. This is the first episode of 2018, one of 12 I'm definitely going to record. And if this works out, shit, maybe next year we'll do 2 a month and I can have you on once a month if you wanted to.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something to do,
Hey, I ain't got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
I always look for an experience here, and I think if we can keep this going, I think we can have a lot of fun with it and just get some crazy people, come in, tell their story, have some scotch.
Exactly.
Or whatever they're going to prefer, because some people might be a coffee drinker, but,
espresso, yeah.
So espresso.
And, the nice thing is, too, we have 2 extra. With this headphone amp I have currently, we could make 2 other, bring in 2 other sets of headphones, and we could probably get an attachment we're using a Zoom H4n Pro that I picked up for this project. I know they have the splitters, right? Mm-hmm. So the only thing is, I guess you could be sharing another person's gain level on the mic.
As long as they both could speak at the same range, I think you'd be all right.
Yeah, I think it could be a lot of fun. We'll keep this rolling, man.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Until next time, we're going to get off here, and we'll see you in the next episode.
that